thing's mean. I like this one. I like the Venom.
Yeah, top 10 whoosh out of this beast.
Alrighty.
Mm-hmm.
Pick it up. I love it! He said it up there. He said it'll hold. And I can't curse on YouTube. Downwind is in the back.
Yeah. The people want 7 minutes of downwind passes.
So there you have it, guys. We got a chance to go out and do some flying yesterday at a new club, the North Georgia Model Aviators, and we were ready to join, but then, of course, today we find out that that club is going to close down too because Georgia just started their shelter-in-place such. So my normal club is down, that club's down, most of the clubs now are pretty much down. So I want to thank you guys again joining us this Friday. Sorry I didn't get to go live yesterday. We got back late from flying, a little too tired to jump on to do it, but was trying to, again, hang with you guys all week, give you something to do during the day, you know, talk RC and get your minds off of all that's going on in the world. So yeah, so I had a chance to fly the Venom out there. And I will say the other day I said, you know, sound isn't too important. The Venom is one of those where the sound of it is absolutely awesome. And that's the stock. That is nothing changed out of that model. And I absolutely love it. Like I said, somebody asked me, I think Jameson, you asked me the other day, what's your favorite right now? And the Venom is the one that I just toss in the car no matter what we're going to do. I always bring it because I enjoy, right now, I'm enjoying flying that model more than most. But what I wanted to do today, because again, this is a normal show, so, you know, this week I was going live every day just at random, mostly just to do it because everybody's home, stuck in quarantine, and if you enjoy talking RC, give you some place to go rather than just meeting us on the forums and such. But, you know, let's get started today, because again, I'm doing this all by myself now. I don't have my producer here to show stuff, but I pulled some stuff off of our Motion RC customer community over on Facebook, because some people doing great stuff, and some people obviously had a chance to fly and share stuff. So I do have a couple cool things that I noticed this week that popped through before we get started, and one was Zach Sweeter, and I want to play this video in its entirety because he had his AL-37 out there in the Alaska scheme, but he did some really, really cool passes and such. So here we go to Zach Sweeter.
Oh yeah.
And there you have it, guys. Zach Sweeter, thank you so much for sharing that in the community. I really love the high alpha passes. Another guy at my club who I've yet to meet, his name deceives me, but he had his AL37 just all white out at the CCRC doing the high alpha stuff. And man, that's awesome. I gotta get doing that stuff because that is absolutely awesome. But I haven't had a chance to fly my AL37 in a bit. Another one I saw, just some lights. Donnie Vortex shared this. He added more lights to his L39. I thought this was... You know, making good use of the MFCB board in there. So good work on that. And yeah, just a couple things, but really that Zach Sweeter one, I caught that the other day, and I figured I'd toss it in. So yeah, today guys, we're gonna get working again. We got all new Benchcraft airbrushing equipment. So whether you're painting RC planes, tanks, you know, anything that we sell or anything else, an airbrush is always going to help you out. Now, you saw a couple weeks ago, I had Wesley Miller here. We were doing some airbrushing on some stuff. We modeled up. You know, he did my King Tiger. He did my Dora over there. So it was a lot of fun to do. So I wanted to just hit up. We finished the 64mm A10 Thunderbolt. I ended up finishing that night after Wednesday. We did the build with it. And you could see she's looking mean once she got all the ordnance on there. She's looking like the tank killer she should be. But she is far too clean. So one thing I did, I asked this morning on social, I was asking if anybody had any reference pictures. So I got a couple photos in. One I liked was this one from John Killen. So he threw up one that he weathered, and then Simon McDonald, he was doing one with an airbrush as well. Check this one. So that's pretty much what we're going to do, guys. We have a ton. You mean the Frank killer. I actually saw that video pop up again when he stepped all over it. Frank, poor Frank, man. That was a rough day, but somebody must have shared it out after our show, because that is absolutely one of the funniest RC videos going on YouTube. And I'm rocking the Merry Boozer shirt. He's got our AL37 with our free wing boxes. Everybody loves the blue tape when you get the boxes. So if you want to get this shirt and support the Merry Boozer RC channel, then go over there, and we could throw a link in there in a little bit later on. So I say we get started. I've already got the compressor, so I'm using the compressor set that we sell. This is the complete package. So with this, you're getting the compressor, you're getting the tank, you're getting the gun, everything you basically need, all the stuff you would need to get started on airbrushing anything. Obviously, paint is something we don't sell, so today I'm going to be using some of the Vallejo Model Air paint. This stuff can go right in the airbrush. It does not need to be diluted in any way, shape, or form. So you could just put it in there, shoot, and go. And then I also picked up on Amazon this is some airbrush cleaner. So if you ever want to change colors and when you're all done, it's best to run this through. And then one thing I got after we did our other videos, which is also, you know, huge if you're doing any sort of airbrushing, you want a cleaning pot. So this thing has a filter on it. It has a nice spot where you can rest your airbrush if you're changing paints, if you're doing anything like that. And then you stick the airbrush nozzle right in, you press the button, you know, blow the air through, and it will, you know, eliminate. If you want to change colors but you still have some paint in there, you can get it out as you're cleaning it, and it'll filter it through the top, so hopefully you're not breathing in any particulate. So I'm going to have to do, you know, so I'm going to have to wear the mask today, and it is not coronavirus related mask. This is just your usual, you know, you don't want to, when you're doing airbrushing, you shouldn't breathe anything in. So if you have a fan or an exhaust or a paint station that you can make, I don't have any of those things here, so I just wear the mask if we're going to do it. And I say we get started, because if we put a little bit, we'll do a little bit on the A10. Maybe we could do a little bit on a tank. I got a heli over there. Alpha was saying I should paint up. But let's just see if there's any comments before we get started. Pay it forward. Picked up the gun you have from Motion about a week ago. Very nice. Thank you so much for that, man. Yeah, I mean, they're solid. They're all solid. And I do have two other options back there. The one with the bigger tank, but yet I haven't felt the need, because I haven't fully painted an aircraft all just with the airbrush yet. So I don't need the larger, you know, the larger paint holder, if you will. This seems to be more than enough. Like what I've been doing when I airbrush, I drop maybe 5 drops of paint as I go, and when it runs out, just 5 drops more. I'd rather underfill it than overfill it, because paint's expensive. You don't want to be wasting paint if you don't have to. So, but I'm listening to James talk. Sorry, can't stay, but I'm listening. Thanks, Vic. You don't have to stay, man. We're here every week. And I'm probably going to be coming back online a couple times next week. Maybe not every day, because that was a little tough to do every single day. But I may come back 2 or 3 times next week. But we'll definitely be here every Friday, as we've been in 2020. So, let's get started with some airbrushing. So what do I got? The way Wes showed me, so I'm doing the Wesley Miller trick. We want to really accentuate the panel lines on this model. And the beauty about the 64mm A10, it's got the panel lines all over it. So if you saw some of those reference pictures that I threw up, you know, that's what guys do. Again, none of these planes are ever going to be fully, you know, beautied up. And the other beauty is when you're weathering, you can make mistakes. You know what I mean? There's absolutely no wrong or right way to do it. There are some tips and tricks that, you know, can make things even better. I am not by any means perfect in this, but some of the tips, like when you're airbrushing, definitely turn your model as such as the way the wind would be blowing over the aircraft, because obviously you're not going to have dirt flowing this way on an aircraft, so you want to spray your paint going back aft towards the tail of the plane, and then things like that. And you can mix up colors. So today I was going to start with some black, and then I've got mud brown, which might even be a little too loud, but you definitely get, you know, mud paint, and then some light brown. And I think if you mix some colors through, it just gives the overall impression that it's more dirtied up. Because I don't know if you're like me, but you buy a white car, it gets black dirt. You buy a black car, and it gets white dirt. No matter what color anything's painted, you are going to get dirt all over it. And these bad boys, since they're going to war and they're doing work, there's no time to keep them fully clean. So I say we get started. I'm going to get started on the wing. So since I want to spray away, you know, from the plane, I'm going to turn the plane around, the aircraft, and then we'll go to a top-down shot. So then I could spray towards the camera, if you will, and you can see. So let's get to the top-down. And you guys should be able to see this now and hear me. Looking good. So again, I'm using one of our Motion RC cards. If you have just anything that's hard, you're just using it to sort of as a mask as you go. But I want to be able to hit the panel line and go in this direction. And I have a foam pad, so I cover up my table. We don't mess around. And you can see from the top now, let's get the paint in the compressor. Compressor's already on, so occasionally the compressor will kick back in to fill the tank up. So when you hear that noise, just bear with it. Really can't do anything about that. And I'm going to put on the doctor mask And now inertia can't see it because it's on a top-down spot. But now we're looking like, well, now we just blend in with everybody else, I guess. Everybody's got their masks. Let me just tie it in the back, and then we'll get started here. But I'm really bummed about that new field being closed down, because that's a private field. It's not a state park, so I was hoping that that would sort of survive and we'd be able to get out there and fly. But now if I want to go, I am going to have to, you know, I'm going to have to go rogue if I am going to go fly at all. Alex wants to see the mask shot. Here we go. Just to show that I am all protected. We are Dr. James in the house. And now going back to the top-down shot. So, all right, so I got my top off. I'm going to open up my paint. And I'm going to do 5 drops. And I go right into where the, you know, where the paint's going to come out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I don't like to get it, don't want to get it hardening up on me or anything. Close the top. And here we go. Now, the way this gun, this is a dual action gun, guys. So the way this works, I'm going to push this back a sec. So you press down and you got air. And as you pull the lever back is the amount of paint you're going to do. Now, you can, by turning the back part of it, you can determine how far back you can pull. So if you're somebody, if you're working on something where you don't want to accidentally overspray, then you could sort of, it'll lock it back to only a certain position. So you can really, really fine tune your airbrushing. So I'm just going to throw down some practice spots right here. So pulling back, and you can see, start seeing the black coming out. And if I pull down really hard, that's going to be the max black. So it doesn't come out like super thick the way you would expect, you know, if you're going to rattle can paint something. It's nice and, you know, nice and thin. You could lay down layer on layer on layer and take your time. So I say we just get started right on the outside right here. So I'm going to do what Wes would tell me. Put a little bit onto the card first. And then very fine. Go. It's going to make the panel lines just pop a little bit. And then you can even go off on your own. So now you can see the panel lines looking a little, and I'll get a little closer once we get going, but you see my tank, my compressor kicked in. Go, and we're just going to hit up as many panel lines as possible with the black, and then you could go back and put in little spots. So what I like to do too, what Wesley was showing me, you know, hit the panel line up right down the middle, and you can have it flow back a little bit. And if you make a mistake, or you could go a little darker in some spots, you could go a little lighter in some spots. There's really no wrong way to do it. You know, you're not trying to graffiti it, but it takes, you just work it ever so slightly. Then you got all the little bits. You could throw some on the back of the aileron, the control surface. Nice. And then you can put little runs too, like, you know, maybe you got hit with something. So you just throw little runs, streak it a little bit too. Like I see, I have a little dent that my finger, little hanger rash coming there. Is it all out of focus? It autofocus, man. I will come in and show you in a second. But I'm gonna streak it back. Nice. So let me put this in here. And let's get to, I have my handheld shot so we can show you. So you can see with a little airbrushing, and now we're on there. Look, it just brings out the panel lines. Now that took all of no time to really to do. And I'm sorry, these cameras, these handheld ones, they autofocus, so it comes in and out. You got to bear with it. But the idea is that you get the idea of what you're trying to do. And there's nothing really wrong with anything, with however you do it. You know, then I hit over here. That was my hanger rash bit. So I'm going to hit that up even more. And then you're going to go over it with a different color. Then we could come back to black. So you can really, you know, take your time. So what I think I'm going to do here now, let's keep this camera on. And we'll go right, let's line it right up with the fuselage. Are we in focus here? Yellow, browns, etc. Yeah, definitely, Todd. I was just going to start with black because it's the easiest to see. And then I was going to go over it with a little brown, then over it with a little light brown, then go back over it with the black. And, you know, obviously, there's a million ways to skin a cat when we do this. I'm just going to add some more paint right now. So, you know what? I'll come back to my main shot. And then we'll do it that way. So I'm putting 5 more drops in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top. And again, I love that having the cleaning pot is awesome because if anything, it just gives you a handle, a place to put your airbrush if you got to do something quick, rather than laying it on the side because these things will not balance anywhere. And again, I am, you know, I'm a newer airbrusher too, guys. It's not like I've been doing this forever. I only just started a couple weeks ago when we got these. I had done it in the past a few times, but never really had one that I had access to. And again, I had a lot of fun one night just doing a tank all by myself, and it's just the type of thing. You sit there, throw on a movie in the background, and man, it's just fun to do. So let's go back to our side shot. I'll back it out a little bit. Maybe that'll help the autofocus. I just don't know what's going to happen when my hand comes in. So it'll go in and out of focus. So just bear with that, guys. But let's start on some panel lines from this way. So I'm gonna go, well, I can't go lefty. So I just got to get this camera out of the way. Here, let's see if we can make it that way. There we go. So where are we? There we are. So let's get in. Oh, the Boozer, Papa Boozer. When you start with great artwork, start with one color at a time. Good job, James. Thank you, Papa Boozer. You guys are the masters at this. This is all Wesley and Papa Boozers. They have so many videos of them doing this. I really enjoyed them doing it to they did it to one of their, to the Navy Tiger Cat, I believe it was. They had a navy blue, so they were using, you know, some whites and grays because, like I said, a darker aircraft is going to get lighter weathering. Lighter aircraft's going to get darker weathering. But I just want to make it pop, and I feel like you can make the plane. If you guys ever saw Manu on social media, I have his B-24 at the top of our Facebook pic. He does some awesome stuff, and he really goes hard with the panel lines. And I think he's using probably chalk. You know, you don't have to do panel lines with the airbrush. And see, I oversprayed it, so I'm gonna thin that out with a different color later. So that was a mistake, but no big deal because you can fix it. You know, we can just say something happened there, and that's okay. You know, like I said, I am not by any means perfect. but I think it's a good representation of, if you're afraid to do this, don't be. You know, that's sort of what I'm trying to get at. And now, when I go across, I'm going to go across a panel line. Rather than putting this here so it goes one way, I'm just going to try to go across it freehand. So we'll take a, I just want to aim it. I get my aim where I am, get my color, and then go right across and come back. So then it's a little above, a little below. The wind would be blowing back maybe. Or again, some weathering would probably be the aircraft just sitting there. You know, just sitting there for a night or two. It rains, so it does drip down. There we go. But you can see it start to come together. You know? Yeah, Anthony, it's hard to do anything live. Because there's always the potential that you're just going to do something drastic, make a big mistake, and then have to pay for it in the comment section. But hey, I've been doing this a long time now. You get used to it. You know, I got thick skin, let's put it that way. So I'm just going to go some freehand stuff so it doesn't look as perfect. And you never want to just spray your air because some paint can come out if you watch this. Sometimes paint will just shoot out on you in clumps. So get your air going first, and then slowly pull back on the trigger. And there we go. You can see us right there. Nice. So, I'm getting excited about that. That's looking kind of cool. Let's go back to the main shot quick. So my tank will shut off in a second here, but you guys are getting the idea, right? Of how it's not, again, it shouldn't be anything that anybody, practice, and you get really good. Yep, Papa, always want to practice, 100%. But, again, now showing you how this works. So, let's change the color. So I'm going to keep that camera here on this side, and let's throw in a mud brown. And actually, because the mud brown itself, well, first I'll clean out the airbrush. So, what you do if you want to change colors, Wes had me grab this off Amazon. Airbrush cleaner, we're just going to throw it in the top. And now that's going to mix up with the paint. And then we're going to stick into the pot here, and you'll see, you just let it spray. And eventually you'll see some, you might see some particulate or some air come out the top through the filter. But basically, it is getting rid of all that stuff that's just coming out. There you go. So if you can see that, depending on the air. So you obviously don't want to be breathing that in, but there is a filter in there that's going to help. But it's also getting rid of the paint that's in your air gun. So now I actually do have a little water, because I don't want to waste all the cleaner. So I'm just going to drop a little water in there too and spray that out. I want to clean it out completely so we just get the one color by itself. But then, going forward, what I was thinking of doing, if you have a little black in your paint gun already, you go to brown, there's no wrong way here. Like mixing these three colors, a light brown, a brown, and a black, would be fine. If you have a little bit of black still in your brush, just throw the brown in there, and then it'll mix as it comes out, and eventually it'll get to the one color. So again, you don't want it to look perfect. You don't want to weather it perfectly. You want to weather it like as if, anything could happen. So what brand of airbrush paint am I using today? I got the Vallejo Model Air paint. It's one of the, the better brands of paint that you can find. I think I picked up a basic color set on Amazon here. I can show you. So it comes with all your basic colors. You got white, yellow, red, blue, green, so you could do your mixing, but then it also had light gray, it had some mud colors, burnt umber, A lot of tans and yellows, different, but it's just, you know, just your basic set. But they got a lot of cool different sets too. They got World War II sets. They got probably Vietnam sets. They've got German sets. They've got, you know, sets specific for what you're doing, you know, because a lot of static model guys are using this stuff for their static model. You could buy a set that's just made for, like, you know, a certain Corsair or things like that. It's pretty intense, but I said, give me the basic one. You know, there's definitely a basic one. Can't wait. James, did you mention again which paint you have? Yeah, I just talked about that on there. So that's the paint I was using. But you can also, again, like, hold on a sec. Like your standard Walmart or Home Depot acrylics, you can use this stuff easy. You just got to mix it. You got to dilute it a little bit. Because Model Air, you're paying more because this is already like pre-mixed. It's perfect for an airbrush. So it'll come out. You don't have to do a mixture of it. But if you get, you know, a couple little jars at your local Michael's or something, and you can mix any color you want, and you just want to thin it out. You want to thin the acrylic out so it flows through the airbrush. And that just takes practice. You know, you're going to be putting paint in, seeing how it sprays out. You just don't want it to get clumpy and not spray the right way. Or you don't want it to be too thin. But for the most part, your basic acrylics also work. There's a million ways to do this and a ton of YouTube videos to do it. But now that we got our black is out, let's go with some mud brown and let's see how that works. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I just do 5 because, again, that little spot gave me about, I don't want to waste paint. You could, if you fill the whole thing up, you could be spraying all day, you know. So you definitely don't want to do that. So now we got it out. Let's go back to our side camera here. Here we go. So we're back on the same thing. And now I'm going to go right to that spot where I threw on a little too much black. But now I'm going to get my, there we go. Brown is, you see some brown coming out over the white. If you guys can see that. Are we in front? Did my camera freeze? Oh, it might have froze. I think we are on. Let's see. Let me come back to the main. Handheld. Are we still there, guys? I'm getting, just want to make sure I'm with you guys. Are we still here? So let's go to the top down. The top down is live. So you know what? I'll come to the top down and let's do a wing. I don't know, the other camera kind of froze sometimes. So let's go back to the wing with some brown. Why not? Same sort of idea. And let me have it get the focus. Hopefully it gets the focus there. So now I'll show you on the top down. We have some brown in there. So you can see the brown, hopefully, if you're not colorblind like I am. And I'm just going to hit some of the same panel lines that we hit before with a little bit of brown. I'm going to do it freehand, I think. There you go. So now some different colors come out. And it just all flows together nicely. Why would you just have black? And obviously, your jets aren't going to have as much of the exhaust the way a Warbird would. But then you could throw some brown. I want to get on that spot that I had messed up with my finger. We'll get some browns in there. Do some runs. Maybe going down this way. Get on the paddle line. Now it's giving it some color. It's giving it some definition. Let me see if my handheld camera's back here. Oh, that's me there. So let's see. Is the handheld? Man, my handheld froze. Let me see if I can fix that quick. I don't know what's going on, but deactivate, activate. There we go. And here we are. Now we're back with this. So you can see some of the brown. You have the brown mixed with the black. Is just looking, just makes it look a little different. Just makes it look a little more striking. So let's head over to our side, because that's what I initially wanted to do. We'll put this right here. Looking right. Let me just zoom that up. And there we go. So now I will, let's start hitting the side, and I'm going to do this more freehand this time. So we got air spraying, and we want to come from the side. Lighter in some spots, a little darker in some spots. Nice, so you can really see it start coming together. Then we go with some light. And eventually, you know, you get to a point. You could spend as much time as you want doing this, obviously. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Nice. And I think some people did say that the paint you use, that you buy at Home Depot or whatnot, will, you can thin out latex paint as well for here. So if you're matching a color, if you're trying to fix something with your airbrush rather than brushing it on, because, you know, sometimes when you use a brush, you just end up with brush strokes. So you really can't, unless you're a perfect painter. I don't, whenever I use that latex paint, I usually use those foam brushes, and I just sort of dab it on, or spray paint, and you don't really get the brush strokes that you would. And then also, you know, if you want to do a wide spurt, you can do that across the side too. But now what I'm going to do, let's fade back to the main. So air hammer, I'm using the Benchcraft compressor, the tank, this all in one set. So you're getting the gun, the tank, the compressor, everything, and I'm using Vallejo Model Air paint, as well as, and then I just grab some airbrush cleaner when we want to change colors. But now what I'm going to do quick, being that I still have brown in there, I'm not going to clean that brown out. I'm going to add a little lighter brown to it, and let's go with a lighter color. Because now this could hopefully lighten up the brown I have in there already, and give us a nice little mix. Might as well. You don't have to clean it out and go with the direct color every time, because as we said before, as we've been saying, your weathering is, you know, planes, cars, everything gets dirty in every color. So let's fade back to here. And again, let it get focus. Mix it up. Now that's looking a little more tan. So now I'm going to hit some of those. I'm going to hit that darker spot again. And I know what I'm going to be doing the rest of the evening tonight while I watch TV. It's going to be finishing this plane. Try to get you guys a picture of one of my first attempts at airbrushing a plane. But guys, if you ever want to see some cool stuff, obviously, if you already know, you want to jump on Hobby Squawk, you're going to be able to see a ton of guys are doing this virtually all the time. Every model they get, there are just the guys out there who aren't going to leave anything stock. So there we have it. Let's see if we can move in a little closer. There you go. So now we just got all different types of colors. So now I'm probably going to go back over some things with the black. Because some spots I laid down black first, like here, and then the brown on top. And these lines over here I just did in brown and tan. So now I'll lay black on top of those. Painting bullet holes. Yeah, man. Well, with the tanks, I don't know about foam if I do it, but I put some, I use my soldering iron and just pierced holes in the side of the tank, which was pretty darn cool. So I'll switch to this while I'm talking to you guys. And then I want to so I'm going to add just 2 drops of black to the brown and the tan that's already in there, because it will just make a mean combination of dirt. And it might come out at different times, which would be cool. So sometimes you spray it with, you never know the way you're getting it. Did Alpha pop in yet? We haven't seen Alpha yet today. We have not seen. It's a great beginner brush, but I use an Ottawa trigger gun for easier handling because I have essential tremors now. Yeah, man, again, you got to start with something, and it's like, don't break your budget on a more expensive airbrush or anything until you know that you're A, gonna like it, that you're B, gonna use it, like anything else. Start small and work your way up. So let's see, I think I'm still getting some tan coming out. So let's fade to this. So now I'm practicing down here. You can see my color coming out. Now I'm pulling back. That's as hard as I can. See the black now coming through. So I wanted to get to that darker spot. So now I'm going to hold this right here. Now let's hit some of those lines again. Some air coming out. Just hit it very lightly. So I'm barely pulling back on the trigger. Now is this a fuel tank right here? Correct me if I'm wrong. What would be coming out of there? This looks like a space that water would be flowing out. My plain knowledge grows and grows with each passing day. But the little things like that I can Google, I know, but I don't have time to Google at the moment. Air pressure, I'm using 40 psi is what I have it set at. So 40 psi. Yeah, Wesley's skills are unbelievable. Wesley he's so good at it. It's awesome. It's really awesome. It was so much fun to hang out with him while he was here, and he was spraying up everything. So she's starting to look dirty, like she's been sitting there. Like she's been sitting on the tarmac, waiting to get fueled up and get back out there. Nice. So let's switch it. We're at 12:45. It's amazing how fast time goes. And I just want to... let's put this down. I want to get the mask off for a second because it does get annoying having a mask on. Not used to it. I'm not a doctor. Whew. There it is. So there you have it, guys. Again, the Benchcraft airbrush, the cleaning pot is an awesome, awesome idea for you guys. Cleaning. Oh, there we are. I was just looking at the live stream. I'm a little delayed from where you guys, so I was looking at the wrong camera. Not sure that I changed the camera. But the cleaning pot is great, man. It's a great way, again, clean your airbrush to switch. I couldn't imagine doing it without it. You'd just be blowing, your paint out in the air, and you'd rather not do that. Having something like this is definitely something you're going to need. And as you can see, the guys in the live chat, Papa Boozer, 30 PSI, yeah, 30 PSI. This one is just, right now it's reading 40 is what I said. So 30 PSI is about where you want to be, and again, it comes down to, your conditions. Like your son said, Papa, if you're in high humidity area, you might need more PSI or less PSI. You might have to, play with the, the humidity on there. Could all change. These are all things that can change depending on where you are. So 30 PSI should be more than fine. That's what Wesley had initially set it at, but my gauge is reading 40 at the moment. So who in the chat can actually fly right now? Like, who's still allowed to go out? Whose fields are still open? Is there anyone who's got a field open? And then obviously you got the people who can fly in their own yard. Oh, Dave Kowishki, you're in. Good to see you, sir. I love that Tiger Cat flight you shared the other day. I watched that. There was subscribe to your channel. Good on you for that. Limited space, worried about how strong the smell is. He lives in a 1-bedroom flat. Again, I'm down here, but you could always open a window inertia and set up a fan. If you set up a fan, if I had a fan here and a window over there, I would just let it suck, out the fan, the whole smell. So wearing the mask on top of having a cleaning pot, and then a fan, and just a way to blow the air out, you should be fine. I don't think it'd be too tough. Hey, James, I want to invite you to fly at my field, Scenic RV Flyers Statham. I'm also a member of Hilltop Flyers, both clubs open. Richard, where is that? Part of it, too, is, if it's not essential, last thing I want to do is get pulled over or something by, by police with model airplanes in my car, wondering if, trying to tell them that, I'm going to do something essential. So that's the tough. And guys, a lot of the shelter in place too. Remember, if you go out in your car and you get in a car accident, you're putting a toll on the hospitals. That's part of it too. Keeping you off the roads is a way to not just protect everyone else, but save the beds. Like the last thing you want to do. Like I was driving out to the field yesterday, and I had that in my mind. Like, heaven forbid I, went off the road or something, and then the ambulance has to come and get me. Like, that's the last thing I want to do that, Just going to fly some adult toys, sir. Yes, that's exactly the thing. So take a look at this, guys. You can see that is the clean side. So now, again, like good from far, far from good. But when you see the other side, it just pops. Like at this distance, what you've done there in the sky is just going to look so much better. And when you see the two wings, one has some airbrushing on it and one doesn't. There's so much more to do, and you can really take your time. And I will definitely take my time with it a little later on. I just wanted to, redeem myself from the first time, because I was trying to mix the paint live the other day. I'm like, I should have just used this stuff right off the bat, but I don't think I had it that day. Or if I did, I was doing it wrong. But, if you're new, buy pre-mixed paint. Start with some pre-mixed paint and then work your way to mixing it up yourself. Like, and for the most part, blacks and browns for weathering type things is all you're going to need. And then you could get into, crazier stuff. So where did he respond? Where are those two clubs? Open, but most all practicing social distancing. Yeah, I hate that word. Social distancing. Our fields in Iowa, Dave's fields a while were open. And they just practice social distancing. Yeah, that's pretty much what everyone, is doing. Yesterday, there were a couple of guys at this new club, and, we all stayed 10, 12 feet apart from each other. No need for handshakes or anything. Just, hey, how you doing? Let's go fly. Thanks, Dave. You might as well, Dave. You might as well give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? Like, at the very worst, I would just repaint it and start again, Get some decals from Cali and put it in a whole new scheme, if you really think you messed up. But there's no wrong way to do it. You know, like, again, couple reference photos just for an idea. But I just looked at a few this morning and said, all right, every panel line is pretty much, you know, got something on it. You know, unless you like your planes just to look like they're fresh off the line. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. But there's definitely some that I want to, you know, there's some models that I have never touched. Like, I would never touch the airliner. I'm not weathering that up. But my old Spitfire was the first aircraft that I bought. I think the Spitfire was the first aircraft that I bought, you know, when I worked here. One of the first, I should say. The first warbird, if anything, was the 1600 millimeter Spitfire. And she's still kicking. And it's funny, all I did was every hanger dent, at the time, I had just taken a silver Sharpie and was just popping it into all the dents. Because I'm like, oh, you know, the paint got brushed off and now there's silver underneath. But now I think I want to maybe make that plane the first one that I might try to repaint it entirely. And what I always want to do with the Flightline Spitfire is put a 3-bladed prop on it and make it a Mark 1. You know, the Mark 1A is my favorite of all the Spitfires. I just like the idea of the whole Battle of Britain, and every time I watch anything about the Battle of Britain, it's just so cool, all the stuff around it, and, you know, how so few save so many was just awesome. So I love me some Spitfires. Bullet holes, Dad's RC. Yeah, man, every time you bump, well, that's what Wes, I would bust out my B-24, but I had a couple of marks. You know, like, I have a mark on my Blue Angels, though, so that one I wouldn't, you know, put bullet holes on. But, you know, like the B-24, I had a big dent just because I had it sitting on something, and I think a spar from another plane as we were traveling, transporting it to Jonal or something, must have been digging into the side. So Wesley just went in there with silver, and then he used the airbrush, he used browns, and made runs, and just made it look like, you know, flak. Why not? You know, like, so now it looks even better than it did initially. Like, that's, instead of trying to fix it, so you have two options. If you really hate a dent in a foam aircraft, you could just fix it, repaint it, sand it, use foam finish or foam filler or spackle, however you're going to do that. Or just paint it out. Make it a part of the lifespan of your aircraft, which is always fun too. So time. Jets and Wings, time for a 1600 millimeter BF-109. Man, if they did that, then they'd have to redo the Spitfire to a Mark 1. But yeah, I would love to see any, you know, the more single-engine warbirds Flightline could produce would be okay by me, you know. Eventually, I think that's my favorite size. And again, as much as I do love flying the jets, I mean, you saw at the beginning, it's fun. It's fun to fly the jets, but the warbirds, they just do it for me more. There's something romantic about it. There's something, I like the history around World War II with them. I just enjoy, they're more relaxing. They fly longer, obviously. And with the Flightline ones, just, I love the electric, I love the sound that all the props make, especially like the Spitfire and the Corsair. Like, they're just that clean whoosh. And, you know, some of my favorite flights I ever take are when I'm at Jonal, and I usually wake up early. I get up at like 6, and I could just get out there for those morning, you know, the early morning warbird flights with like the Spitfire or the Corsair were some of my favorite moments, you know, in RC. It's relaxing, it's fun, and always looks and sounds good. Pearl Jam, give me an 80-inch gas BF-109. Well, see, that's the thing, Pearl Jam. I haven't flown a big gasser yet. So once I get that P40 set up and somebody maidens it and shows me that it flies well, then I'm definitely going to take a pull on it, and it may change my mind about, you know, about gassers. So, you know, it's coming. In 2020, as long as, you know, who knows how long it's going to last. I just hope we're not shelter in place until, like, October or something, because I don't want to lose, hope we don't lose the whole year. That would just be insane. William Decker, non-ammonia glass cleaner. Yeah, non-ammonia glass cleaner. Alcohol, water, and a few drops of glycerin make a great low-cost airbrush cleaner. You're right, and Windex is what a lot of people use to thin out their paint rather than just water. And you want the non-ammonia version because if you have the ammonia, it could eat away at all the rubber and the silicone inside the airbrush. So you'd end up running through airbrushes, faster. But yeah, recommend something about the prop planes to me. I enjoy, they're more relaxed for me. I enjoy trying to get the perfect takeoffs on those and landings. But it doesn't mean I don't love jets too. I've definitely grown to love the jets, but something about all those, just something about all the warbirds, it just does it for me more. I can't help myself. We need another big B25. Yeah, right. Hi, James. Is this the free wing? Ed, this is the free wing 64mm A10 sitting in front of me, not the big twin 80 with the option for twin 90s. This is just the 64mm A10. We built this on the live show on Wednesday. Built it, set it up, and such, so you can watch that, see how it comes out of the box new now. And now we were just airbrushing it a little bit today, so I'll show it one more time. That's the clean side, and then this is what we got done with today. We just did the front, and we did a little bit on the top of a wing, just to, just as an idea to show people what they can do. Oh, and one thing about this 64, I said that this center tank was glue-on, because all the other ordnance gets glued on this 64. This is actually, it is a magnet. So you could take the center, tank off, because I know the center tank probably, definitely changes flight characteristics more than probably just the ordnance would, but that was something I did not realize when I put it together the other day. Yeah, thanks, Ed. I mean, it's just and this is like the first time I ever did it, and I risked doing it live in front of people. First time I ever did it on a plane myself, just to show people that, again, I'm not perfect, in any means. That's why I don't mind showing my flights. I just don't call them flight reviews, because I'm just happy to fly it. I'm not reviewing it. But if you see me doing anything, I hope you realize that I'm just a regular guy, and you can do it too. A lot of this stuff is new to me as well, so you're kind of learning. Hopefully you learn vicariously through me, and just get excited. And right now, with the climate we're in, it's fun. I mean, this is something you can do. You could redo your entire fleet and make it look crazy, so that when we can go out again, then we can do it. Show. Let's see what else we got. Oh, thanks so much, Ed. Worry about inertia. I mean, that's what happens with live stuff. We're gonna eventually this year we wanted to test out. Alex and I want to bring our equipment for the live stream and try to do some live flights. We believe we should be able to get enough with the Wi-Fi at the club that we might be able to go live there. So we're gonna test it and just do some live flights, and live flying. Anything can happen, but as long as you're recording it and people can enjoy it, then I'll do it. I mean, I've crashed live before in front of people. It's no fun. But yeah, just as a way, that was part of the goal, was this year, starting this live show. We weren't just always going to be in here. But right now, obviously, I'm glad that we started the live show, because this is fun. It's fun to be with everybody, and share it out, guys. If you're in the chat, we got about 2 minutes left, and I'm not gonna go longer than an hour today, guys. I wanted this Friday show to live on as the 1 hour with motion, and then next week I'm not sure what we're gonna do yet. I may do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday deal. I'm definitely not gonna do every day of the week, but either way, next Friday we'll definitely be here live to keep continuing on. Yeah, this hobby's awesome, man. There's so many good people out there. I traveled the world with this hobby in the last 8 years, and I've been to so many countries, and the one thing that's the same is the flying clubs and just the camaraderie of it, and it's great. It's fun. Something to do, something to hang. 29 likes to 90 viewers. Alpha is really going to be upset with you guys. If you're here, just hit the like button for me. Thank you so much. And I think that'll do it, guys. So, again, hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was a little quick. Next week, I think I do have something special for you guys. If you check our website now, check out the FPV accessories. I didn't get a chance to put a picture in, but we got new FPV goggles and smaller cameras that can fit a tank, can fit a plane, would be perfect for this. There's 2 different sets there, so I have those on the way to me. I should definitely have them here next Friday. So I think next Friday, that's what we're going to be doing, is doing some FPV. It's been a long time since I got a chance to FPV a plane, so I'll be excited to do that and FPV in a tank now. Like, that's going to be really cool, so do that. So yeah, smash the like button, guys. Jump on Hobby Squawk. I'm there. I'm on social media if you want to hit me up. I'm easy to find. J.M.Burlich. My last name is impossible to spell, so that sort of keeps me a little more private. But if you see me, just look for the administrators in the community group on Facebook, and you can hit me up anytime, man. I'm around. And if you have any questions, comments, or anything. But thank you so much for joining. Thank you for liking. Thank you for being a subscriber. And thank you for being a Motion RC customer, guys. We'll see you next time on Motion RC Live.